What's going on, guys? PXCam20 back with a brand new video. Today we're rolling the dice and trying to take our chances here around one of the craziest tracks on the calendar, and that is Monza, when it comes to trying to do a 20 car field race without any incidents and without losing any SR. So we're gonna see how good our luck is. As usually our luck is pretty bad, but we're gonna do everything that we can to hopefully stay up in front and avoid all these penalties and avoid getting taken out now as we get our 3, 2, 1. So 3, 2, 1, away we go as we cross down the start finish line for the first time. Immediately we're gonna get into the slipstream of the Frenchman right ahead of us, as that's gonna be the key to winning this race, is abusing that slipstream, but in addition avoiding getting those penalties as we now head into turn 1. So we're gonna go nice and easy into turn number 1 into the first chicane, but unfortunately right behind us some cars don't use the same tactic and actually almost take us out immediately as we get bumped from behind. And you can see the result right there as one of the guys gets, I think, a 3-second penalty. So on the replay, the Aston Martin just brakes very late, very optimistic of a move, and just tries to bully his way into 4th place, but didn't work out too well for him as he did get a 2 or 3 second penalty, and we were luckily able to get away scot-free. But unfortunately, due to that contact, look at how much time we lost to the Frenchman in 3rd, and now we're just gonna have to do everything we can to try to catch back up to them as we get tapped from behind once again from a spongy. So things getting a little bit crazy here, a little bit dicey on this race around the Monza, as we're just getting killed from behind. And luckily we don't have any damage, because if we had real damage, then our rear bumper would have been missing, gone, KIA in action, and yeah, would not have been good for us because we would have been driving around with no rear bumper. But luckily crossed past the penalty zone, and we at least get a little bit of breathing room now, as everybody behind us who had a penalty had to serve their penalty. And we're actually gaining a little bit of time on the top 3 right ahead of us as we come out of Parabolica for the first time here, and cross the start finish line to lead us into the 2nd lap. So I guess for Monza and where we were at on the race, I guess this isn't too bad of a start. I mean, it does suck that we lost a little bit of time to the 3rd place car, but it could have been a lot worse. We could have been all the way in the back, and we could have lost a lot more positions, or even getting a penalty. But as we head into the first chicane, Kingo does a nice little overtake, kind of reminiscent of Ricardo, brakes very late, and I saw him coming in the mini-map, decided just to get out of his way. Didn't want to get, push him down too much and accidentally push ourselves out of the race. So we just give him the spot, let him get the overtake, and if he's faster than us, then maybe he can pull us up to the top 3 here, and we could just utilize that slipstream to save our tires, and also just use that to catch up to the cars right ahead of us. So situation here, well, at least a strategy around here, we were given the mediums and the hards, but earlier in the week, not sure exactly what happened, I think it was just a glitch, but some people were actually told that they had to use the mandatory soft tires, but that's actually a compound that wasn't given to us. So the compounds that were given to us was the mediums and the hards, and so we're gonna have to use both of them for this race to avoid getting a penalty. But as we jump into Ascari here, you can see that the German of Kingo right behind us actually went a little bit wide, and we just make the slightest amount of contact to his left front, and we ended up getting a penalty. So this is kind of the replay right here. You can see he just goes wide into the corner, and we took our normal racing line. I did try to avoid him, but just couldn't avoid him enough to where we didn't make contact. And unfortunately, due to that, we made contact with Kingo, and we get a 2-second penalty. So in my opinion, undeserved 2-second penalty. I don't know, maybe you guys will think differently in the chat. Maybe I could have gotten a little more safer into the Ascari, but when I was going through the corner, I was just taking my normal racing line, and it was just unfortunate for Kingo that he got a little bit loose into the first part of Ascari, and we just kind of had nowhere to go except for his side. So we're just gonna have to deal with our 2-second penalty and try to get away from the guys right behind us, because that is the one thing I was trying to avoid, is getting stuck behind the pack. And luckily we did catch up to the top 3, as 2nd place gets a little bit of wheel spin off of the exit of the first chicane, and that's kind of not going to help out our situation here, because we're trying to get away from everybody behind us. But if we're having cars right ahead of us make some mistakes and hold us up a little bit, all that's going to do is push us back even more. and we might get overtaken by a lot of cars once we hit that penalty zone. So we'll see what happens here as we now come out of the second chicane, leading us into Lesmo 1. So into Lesmo 1, the Spaniard decides to take a little peek onto the inside of the Frenchman and kind of squeeze him out, but the Frenchman gives us enough space on the exit. So does the Spaniard, and he's able to make a really good move into Lesmo 1. Usually not a place where you see overtakes, but as we now cross the penalty zone, we do have to serve our 2-second penalty, and it looks like the Turkish man right ahead of us had to serve his penalty too, and everybody else behind us looked like they had to serve some type of penalty, because I think there was like 3 or 4 cars right behind us, but at the end of the day it looked like we just only lost 2 positions, as the Spaniard right ahead of us actually comes out of Ascari with a huge problem, and not sure exactly what happened to him. I think he just lost it a little bit coming out of the Ascari chicane, and we're going to capitalize on that, get a 5th place position back away from him. And now things are starting to look a little bit brighter on our end, as we have the 3rd and 4th place driver fighting with each other as we head down out of Parabolica for the 3rd time. So kind of an eventful race. We've only been racing for 4 laps, and it's been pretty eventful here, but luckily, again, it could have been a lot worse. We could have been fighting for 10th right now, but we're still up here in the kind of the lead pack. As you can see, 1st and 2nd are still in our radar, but the Spaniard does make a nice little cheeky move on the inside, gets the overtake done. We have to give him the spot, and we're just gonna follow line right behind him. Don't really want to fight with anybody right now, just checking behind us to see where the next car is at. As you can see on the left hand side, that they're about 3.5 seconds away, so if we can keep that gap away from them and just kind of keep this into a 6-car battle, then I think we should be all right here, as McSpongy gets a really bad exit out of the 2nd chicane. So the Spaniard is able to capitalize on that little mistake from McSpongy, and we attempted to go on the outside of Lesmo 1 and try to see if we can make something happen there, but the hole kind of closed up, so we just back out of the move as we get very wide on the exit with McSpongy. Kind of interesting there. We both basically did the exact same thing off of Lesmo 2. But now have dirty tires heading into Ascari, so let's see how, if this affects us in any way. As I don't think it should, but you should have to be very careful going into here. As you can see, McSpongy goes a tad bit wide, and I'm not sure if that was just from dirty tires or if he's just feeling the pressure from us, but we get a really great run down the straight now, as he's get a ½ second penalty. So we're on the outside heading into Parabolica, but it looks like he just gives us the spot, knows he's got a penalty, and that was some big head thinking right there, some clear motivations, and I thank McSpongy for that and just giving the spot because he had the penalty. So back into 5th here, we lost position, but we gained it back, and McSpongy right behind us actually comes into the pit. So again, we do get the mediums and the hard compound tires for this race, but the medium compounds could last all the way up until about lap 7, lap 8, depending on how smooth you drive the car. And depending where you're at on the track, the most important thing that you want to do is just avoid getting caught up in traffic. If you can stay out in the lead, or just have clean air and away from anybody with the slipstream, or work with someone with the slipstream and not fight, then that's going to be your best case scenario around this track to finish in a good spot, because everybody else is just going to be fighting with each other, trying to make overtakes in every single chicane, and all that's going to do is slow themselves down. So if you can work with someone here, or just ride along by yourself, you can definitely just make up a lot of time on everybody else that's racing against each other, and that can be the key to getting the victory here. But it's a lot easier said than done, just because of the slipstream and how powerful it is here. As you can see, you could just get some huge runs here, especially if you get in slipstream range. But if you can just, again, make that work with somebody else and just follow along and not pressure them into mistakes, and just try to pull away from everybody else, that's probably going to be your best case scenario, and then just try fighting with them at the end of the race. But you can see here that the Turkish man right ahead of us has to serve a penalty now, as he gets us a ½ second penalty. So I think he just decided to come into the pits. Why not? You got a penalty, come in, get some fresh tires, and then see if you can get your penalty, or try to get a fast lap, serve your penalty, and lose the minimum amount of time. But we now come into our pit stop here, as we're going to switch off from the mediums to the hards as we transition into lap number 7. And We come out in 4th place, so that was kind of interesting here because I wasn't expecting for us to come out in 4th. I thought we were going to be in 5th, but you can see that the Turkish man of Innovator is now demoted back into 6th and fighting for 5th. So not exactly sure what happened to him, if he got caught up in some traffic, like I said, something that you want to avoid here, but he lost a tremendous amount of time, and somehow we find ourselves here in 4th place, 6 seconds ahead of him, and only 2 seconds behind 3rd and 2nd. So we're going to do everything that we can to catch up to these 3 guys up ahead, and we're just going to put in nice consistent laps and see if they fight with each other, because that's going to be best case scenario. They start fighting with each other, maybe we can get an opportunity to catch up if we just run a normal racing line. And looks like it's kind of working out here, as you can see that the gap is still about 2 seconds. But when we come out of the 2nd chicane, the Italian right ahead of us of Jabberwocky just goes a tad bit wide off of the 2nd chicane, and that is a huge mistake on his part, as now the gap has closed from 2 seconds all the way down to about 7/10 of a second. So very, very lucky on our end. We got one of the best luck here for this race, only for this race though. Usually it never happens like this, I swear. Sometimes we just get very unlucky and we just get 15 penalties and get a driver reset. But this race, everything has been going our way, and sometimes in races you just need a little bit of luck in order to finish in a good spot. But we are now pressuring Jabberwocky here for the podium, and we still got 2 laps left, so I'm just kind of feeling him out, seeing where his strengths are on the track, where his weaknesses are on the track. I know 2nd and 1st are long gone. They're about 3 seconds, 4 seconds up the road, and we just don't have enough time to catch up to them unless that they make a similar mistake to Jabberwocky. So we now get into the slipstream with Jabberwocky off of Parabolica, and we're going to see here if we can try to make an overtake somewhere heading into the 1st chicane, as that's going to be probably one of the best overtaking zones. And so we move it on to the inside. He gives us plenty of room, and it's side by side as we head into the 1st chicane. Look for our braking spot. Brake right after the 150 meter board, but I think we just broke a little bit too early, as Jabberwocky was able to get a woe down sooner than us and actually brake later than us. So kind of using that as a guidance for the next lap, in case if we are still right behind him heading into the final lap. We're going to see if we can try to implement that same braking zone for us and see if we can make it work. It's going to be a little bit risky, but sometimes you have to take a little bit of a risk to get these overtakes done. So into the 2nd chicane, we just follow him into this corner, and he goes a tad bit wide once again off of the 2nd chicane. So almost an exact mistake that he did the lap prior, but we're just keeping the pressure up on him and just seeing if we can force him into another mistake here, as if we can do that, then we can save ourselves some time with the battling, and just force him into a mistake, get that easy overtake, and then just smoothly ride along here for the podium. But heading into Ascari, he's defending the inside, as we're going to use the slipstream again, go onto the outside, and we kind of both brake at kind of the same time. So we just follow right back in line with him, and again, just trying to shape ourselves up for an overtake, trying to see where we can find our strengths compared to his weaknesses. But into Parabolica, we're on the outside once again as we brake very, very late, try to keep him pinched down onto the inside, and that move seems to work here, as we are still on the outside, and we are now about 1 car length ahead of him. As we jump into the replay to see exactly how we did this move, we just brake as late as we can, kind of keep him pinched down so he doesn't get that good run off the exit, and I think pinching him down actually lost all of his momentum, as he really wasn't able to get a good wide arch into that corner, and we were able to cut it off there as we now head into the final lap. So a little bit interesting of a tactic from him. He decided to go to the outside, as he did have a little bit more speed into turn number 1 now, and we're gonna brake as late as we can into turn number 1, keep the inside, park it right on the apex of the 2nd corner, and it looks like we were able to get that done now, as we are stretching the gap now from about a car length to 2 car lengths. So still not over here. He does have the slipstream, so we are definitely keeping an eye on the radar to make sure he doesn't do anything funny here, as we still got about half a lap in this race. keeping it defending on the inside. We're heading to the second chicane, parking it back on the apex, and we are able to navigate our way through there smoothly and actually gain a little bit of time on him, as the gap has now stretched out to about half a second, 0.6 of a second. So we're doing okay here. We just got to make sure that we don't screw it up here for these final few corners, and again, just make sure that he doesn't get into our slipstream and take full advantage of that, as we do have a pretty good gap away from him. So I'm just keeping an eye right behind us, just seeing where he's at. And luckily, going into Ascari, he just wasn't close enough to take full advantage of the slipstream. But off of the Ascari chicane, we did get kind of a bad entrance and exit, as I was just a little bit worried about where he was at behind us. And you can see that he was able to gain about 2/10 of a second down. He's only about 1/10 right behind us. We're defending the inside and trying to break as late as we can, as we're going to keep it all the way to the right hand side and just not allow him to get that cutback. And off of Parabolica, it looks like we're going to be able to hold off him for our third place position, as we're getting a little drag race here. He gets to our slipstream, and yes, we are able to get the podium here for our race at Monza. So very, very lucky here. We did everything that we could as best as we can, and luck was on our side. And not only that, we got paired up with some great racers, and we were able to come home with a third place position. So let me know how you guys are dealing with Monza. I know a lot of you guys are hating this race, or dreading this race. It's been a really big DR and SR killer from what I've seen, especially in the European region. I saw some YouTubers get DR resets and actually lose a lot of SR. So we just got very lucky that we got matched up with a lot of nice, clean guys, and we were able to navigate our way into a podium after starting off, I believe, in 5th place. But again, let me know what you guys think about this week on daily races. Leave those in the comment down below. And if you guys really enjoyed the video, which I hope you guys did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more content. And if you guys want to follow me on the Twitters, Instagram, or even on Discord, all those links are in the description down below. So once again, hope you guys really enjoyed the video. If you guys did, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.